So what's AofD about?
AofD is about a story. It's a story of a lawyer who basically has done certain things in the past, not necessarily all the right things. I would say he's a character with a bit of a shady past, and this past catches up to him. He doesn't expect it. His career is established. He's a hard-working professional, and little does he know that his past is about to catch up with him.
Actually, Mark and I had just completed a short film called Serious Thoughts, and it was on very, very limited funds, a very limited time. I think we shot the whole film within 2 days or 2 weekends. It was very limited. We only had a couple of $100 to spend on the film, and it turned out to be half decent. We met a lot of great actors in the process, and we realized, well, we have to take Cinevita and our talent and the all our production to the next level. And that's when Mark and I started scouting around Simply Scripts, a great website for writers, for filmmakers to essentially find available unproduced scripts. At that time, I had stumbled on The Architect and Downfall, and immediately I was pulled in with the dialogue, the characters, and the sheer potential of the script. And I immediately sent it to Mark, and I said, "Mark, you really have to read this. This sounds like the next best thing for us."
Once we reached an agreement with Silva Mungai and secured the script, right away we had to figure out all the logistics behind making a film. Finding locations, finding the actors, determining our budgets, where we would film, when, how. All the technical aspects came into play, from lighting, cinematography, the direction of the film, the look we wanted to give to the film. We felt it was extremely important to get the right characters. We started at the very top, finding our locations, finding casting. We cast the film ourselves. All aspects of this film were handled by Cinevita Productions. A to Z, it was a one-stop shop.
AofD needed some sort of budget. We couldn't go in there with a few $100s. This required a few $1,000s. Doing AofD properly, it would have required a lot more money than just a few $1,000s, but we realized that with the lack of funds, we'd probably be able to still do something plausible with the film. We sat down, we did the numbers very, very modestly, and turned out that we needed a budget roughly of around $10,000. How are we going to raise $10,000? Well, at the time, Kickstarter was very popular. However, Kickstarter only promised the full funds if the goal was reached at 100%. We weren't sure, we didn't have a large following, and we weren't sure how well we were going to do with the campaign. And we absolutely knew that Mark and I, this is a film that we're doing for 2015. We decided to go with another website called Indiegogo, and we started a campaign with them. Indiegogo, we decided to go with a flex plan, which basically meant whatever money we get taxed a little bit more on it, but at least we get to fulfill our our goal and our dream to actually go ahead and do and produce AofD.
Your screens. We encourage you to pledge, to participate, and be part of the action.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You want to start?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Thanks for joining us to the AofD, the Architect of Download Pledge.
Download? It kind of, you know what, it should probably be. No, wrong way.
Hey guys, welcome to our...
Yeah, I can just not move, stay like that, and hold that paper right there.
That doesn't make any sense.
No. Script.
Welcome everybody to... I want to say welcome everybody.
Downfall, Indiegogo, blah 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 page.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's cool.
I'm still sitting funny. It's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
We initially planned out a $10,000 budget for this short film, which we felt was right for the duration of the film and the production at hand that we had envisioned. After the campaign concluded, we reached approximately 50% of the target. So we had approximately $4,800 or $4,900 at hand to make this film. And the first question that came to mind is, how on earth are we going to make a film on a $4,800 budget? That was the next challenge. But we did not let this hurdle or roadblock stop us. Vince and I sat down, we planned over and over. We made lists, we checked locations ourselves. We then also reached out to a lot of people that we knew. We have access to a lot of information, a lot of talent, a lot of equipment and gear, which definitely helps us in a situation like this. The amount of rentals needed was kept to a minimal. We rented, I think, 1 or 2 pieces of equipment at the most. We were fortunate that we own all of our equipment. We own and operate all of our equipment. So basically, the main challenge was then to continue closing up on our locations. As we filmed The Architect of Downfall, one of the main challenges we faced was securing locations. In some instances, locations were closed or secured 24 to 48 hours prior to a film shoot. Now, anybody who has experience in the film industry will understand where we're coming from with this. It's the amount of stress and challenge, but it's the dedication and the persistence of this team that kept us going. We did not leave any roadblock get into our way, and we were just determined to get this done no matter what, at all costs.
It really took a collaboration from the whole team, and not just the crew member team, the cast as well. They were a huge part of it. So it was really a team effort. Without everybody's strong focus on the film, I think we couldn't have got it done.
The restaurant scene was very interesting. We were basically filming in this restaurant on a weekend while there was very, very little customer traffic. We came about this location through contacts that Vince has. We were very fortunate that we were able to film in this location. The mood of the restaurant, the overall setting was perfect for the dialogue between the actors, between Ash and between Chris. We basically used the environment that we had. The background has a fabulous, fantastic wine cellar. So we were able to capture this and the essence of the restaurant. The overall feel and vibe of the restaurant was captured with the use of different camera angles, close-ups, just playing with the overall scene, different lighting, mid-shots. And basically it's a very small venue. However, we feel that we captured as much as we could from different angles, the intimate bar area, the closed seating. It just worked. It just worked out very, very well for us.
Ready?
Is this on the top?
Camera's rolling.
The challenges to filming at the restaurant were mostly due to the time of the day. We were on set at approximately 11 a.m. or 10:30 in the morning. By the time we set up our equipment, our gear, the actors had gone through makeup and wardrobe. The lighting conditions had changed. So in order to film everything that we had to do on that scene, we were constrained by time. The lighting was a major role as well, because this restaurant has a glass front and the lighting can be extremely harsh at times. So we had to try and work a balance between the location, the time of day, and the lighting.
The warehouse had a few challenges. We were lucky enough to acquire the warehouse. The warehouse was the only location we actually knew ahead of time, so there was an actual shots list there. However, it was we had to deal with the fact that we started at 7:30 a.m. We got on set. It took a while to get all the equipment set up. However, we have to realize that the sun, we didn't have all the equipment for lighting, so that's where we had to, we all went with naturalistic lighting. That's where the challenges came. We had to make sure that if we shot a certain scene that looked like around noon, that all the scenes looked like they were shot around noon, but that wasn't the actual case. We shot anywhere between 9:30, 10, all the way up until the afternoon. We had rented a dolly system for those specific scenes, and the dolly had to go back on time or else we'd pay double the price, or a surcharge, a penalty surcharge. So we were faced with not only time restraints because of the naturalistic lighting, which is the sun, we also were limited in terms of the rental time with the dolly. So we had to strategically plan all those things to work to our advantage. When we got inside the warehouse, we were faced with another challenge, which was the two lighting situations, the one outside, which was the sun, and the indoor lighting. And that definitely that was definitely a challenge for us, and definitely took a lot of time to figure out. It took us a few hours, so that was a challenge there. Silly things too. One of the vehicles, we had to use one of the cast and crew member vehicles. It required oil, so we actually had an assistant run out, get some oil, and little things like that we just had to. We had to roll with the punches, basically. So that's all in an indie film. And action. It's a pleasure. Something small and easily concealed. And action. And cut. One of the last shoots that we had, not the last one, but we were approaching towards the end of the summer. We decided that first we had scheduling was an issue for us. Everybody was either going back to work, going back to school, and we had to hurry things. Not to mention that we ran out of money. There's a certain scene where there's a flashback, and we had to figure out where we're going to shoot this. So we ended up using one of our crew members' houses to shoot the flashback, and essentially we had to orchestrate 3 shoots, 3 locations in one day, which was a very long day for us. The first shoot was a doctor's office, which was acquired almost at the last minute, which was great. We're very fortunate to have connections like this within, again, our crew.
The doctor's office was a very interesting shoot. We arrived on scene or on set at approximately 8:30 on a Saturday morning. And the most challenging part of that shoot was that the doctor's office is actually open to the public on a weekend. So we did the most that we could, as fast as we could and as efficiently as we could, inside of a 4-hour time frame. 4 hours does sound like a lot of time, but when you have to get everybody ready, everybody into position, have multiple shoots, actors, actresses going through wardrobe, makeup, rehearsing. We did sample and trial shoots. It was a lot of work happening in a very condensed frame of time. And what also adds to the challenge is that we mostly used the lobby of this doctor's office along with some of the examination rooms. And confined space is definitely an issue when you're shooting a film of this nature. We need to get the cameras in there, the actors, the actress, the lighting, the sound, and yet you've got half of your production team inside of an examination room that is probably 8 feet by 10 feet. You definitely get to know your cast and crew pretty well when you're in these confined spaces.
Again, shot lists are inexistent because we don't know where we're shooting from one day or another. So when we get on site, Mark and I, production designer, we get together to figure out, how we're going to be shooting, and even though we had a rough shots list, we had to condense it enough to make sure that we get the right shots done, and if we have a little bit of leftover time for little artistic angles and stuff like that we can get it covered as well. But the main shots have to get covered, and then we move on to the more artsy stuff. So again, time wasn't on our side, and we had to make sure that again, we're going to a chiropractor's office, so we had to readjust the posters, the paintings. Everything was around a chiropractor's office. And in the film, the woman's actually pregnant, so we had to turn the office into a real doctor's office, into a general practitioner's office.
The laundromat scene was also rather interesting. We had originally approached a much smaller laundromat in the Montreal area, but the challenges with that area was that the gentleman who owns it, the owner, had said that we would have to shoot and film around his clientele base. Now it's extremely small. You literally walk off the street, there is a counter there, and the gentleman is behind the counter. So one of the main challenges was, how could we get all of our equipment and gear in place and film at the same time, trying to keep an eye out for incoming customers. We just realized it just would not work. So at that point and I would not say at the last minute, but we had to make changes to our locations. And I think we were about 2 weeks prior to shooting this scene when we were able to secure another laundromat just south of Montreal, which just worked so much better. It has that carousel for the clothing. It has more of a look and feel of an active laundromat with a high volume of clientele. The initial site was much more focused towards an intimate or a much smaller scaled business. So we feel that the location that we secured, that we used, that appears in the film, was much better suited to the production ideas we had in mind. It just flowed. People can move around much more freely. We had the access to use the equipment, even though we didn't know how. We figured we can at least use the carousel to make it look like it all fit with the script. The lighting was excellent, the location was excellent, and we were actually faced only with 2 customers who arrived on the scene, it just worked out to our advantage.
Scene 5, shot 2, take 1.
The flashback scene was done at one of our crew members' houses, and that was the last location in that long day of shoots. That one was difficult. Everybody was tired. Everybody didn't get much sleep. We've been shooting since 7:30 in the morning, and we had to even beg some actors to get on set. We had some actors that were moving because again it's moving season. It's in the summer. We had to practically bribe people to come to our shoot because we ran at this point we ran out of money, we ran out of time, and we had to the flashback scene we didn't necessarily have to shoot it. It was just dialogue in the script, but after speaking with Mark from the beginning about it and speaking with the actors about it, everybody just said we have to get it done. We have to shoot it. I think visually it would be amazing. Not an easy scene to shoot, but it would add definitely a lot more character and guts to the film. And therefore we settled with the crew member's house. We made it fit. It logistically it didn't make 100% sense, but we did the best we could. And we shot until almost 2 in the morning on that day, and we were all exhausted. But again, when you're determined and everybody's determined and on the same path and everybody has the same goal, you just want to make it work. Everybody just does their best, and we're really grateful for that. The main house was where the main photography of the film is taking place. That was the most difficult location to acquire. It took us throughout the whole production, since we acquired the script up until the night before. The main house was the most difficult. We were missing funds. We almost signed for a house in Ontario, meaning we all would have to camp outside or camp inside the house with a crew of 13, 14 and a cast of 4 or 5. Not to mention that we'd have to bring and lug around all the equipment and make sure that if we needed anything, we'd have it very close by. Because of the lack of funds, we had to look elsewhere, and we managed to get a location. Unfortunately, it fell through at the last minute, and the last minute is 9 o'clock Friday night, when we have to shoot, when we have everybody scheduled for the main shoot on Saturday and Sunday. This we already had determined that this Saturday and Sunday was going to be the only weekend we can shoot and the main scene, and therefore we were limited. So after phoning up a few crew members on the staff, our production designer ended up securing us a phenomenal location that came with some strings attached, which was a lot of expensive stuff. We had to make sure that none of our crew members or equipment would ever ruin any of the furniture, any aspect of the room. I mean, there were paintings, there were just beautiful things in the apartment, and we had to make sure that everything was legit. Not to mention time. We had 2 days shooting from 7:30 up until 4, not including lunches. So we, obviously everybody needs a break, everybody needs lunch. And we ran into a few quirks as well on that scene. The lighting conditions weren't always ideal. We were lucky to have sun. However, because we're shooting on a spread of 2 days, we had to make sure that a morning shot looked like a morning shot and an afternoon shot looked like an afternoon shot, meaning we couldn't shoot a morning shot in the afternoon and so on and so forth. So we had to split the scenes strategically and according to the time that Jason Kettle, Jack, the character in the film, enters the apartment. Little things that that were difficult as well were the fact that again, lack of time, lack of money, wardrobe. In the script it calls for original cufflinks. We ended up having to settle with a watch. Having a watch definitely changes the dynamics of the film, changes the end goal, it changes a lot of different things. So as little as cufflinks switching to a watch, it definitely came with challenges, and we had to think of solutions on the spot and quickly, because we were losing time, we were losing sun, and we didn't have another chance to shoot at that location. So everything had to be done on the spot, and with everybody's cooperation as well, and everybody's good thinking.
I just want to block it.
Okay.
Show me your tongue. Show me your tongue. Let me set that. No, stay there, Jay. Ready?
Yeah. Go ahead, sound. Camera rolling.
Scene 6, shot 13, take 1.
And action. Really saddens me that the world is filled with animals like you, who have no cause or concern for their callous indiscretions. I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna pray that you find redemption at some point in your pathetic and miserable existence. Okay. Start that over.
It was just a work of art. Everywhere you looked was fantastic artwork, collection pieces, all items that are one-offs that you just cannot find anywhere. So the main challenge behind that entire shoot was, how do you shoot safely and efficiently in a home like this without anything happening? You don't want anything to happen in a location like this. We can't afford for anything to happen in a location like this. Yet everybody exercised a lot of care and caution and respect for the home. And things flowed, things happened. We shot, we filmed. We started filming in one of the scenes in the bedroom where Chris, our actor, is on the telephone making some calls, and we tried to capture as much of this of this loft as we could. It looks so good on camera that we just had to find a way to maximize the use of this location. And I think we pulled it off, as you'll see in the film, and we hope that you really enjoy it.
Honey, the guy was being a dick. How hard is it to find a bunch of clothes anyway? I'll just pick him up tomorrow myself. I have a dinner date with the judge. I can't afford to be late. You know how it is, honey? All these cases and meetings I had to deal with this week. We've had hardly any time to discuss business. Right. Well, can't you sleep at Grandma's place? That way you can get your writing done in peace.
Another main challenge of filming in such a location with so much natural light and glass is definitely reflections. There is a scene where Michael is proceeding through the loft, where he walks by a billiard table on his way to a mirror. In front of Michael, as Michael walks to this location, there is a wall of glass. It's French doors. One of the key items and challenges was to make sure that the cast, the crew, the equipment were not visible, no reflections whatsoever. This definitely was not an easy task to pull off. The cast and crew were crouched down well below knee level, literally lying on the floor of this vast loft in order to capture the scene perfectly and to make it look as though Michael was living alone or presently alone in the location. However, there's really, in all reality, there's approximately 10 to 13 cast and crew members in the same area as he is. However, we portrayed it as though Michael was alone, or so he thought.
The reception hall was a thing of beauty. We again, a location at the last minute that we had gotten from one of our cast members, and we were offered a ballroom or a hall. And as Mark and I went in with the cast member, we went around to see what was available, and the maitre d', the manager of the location, came to see us and said, "Hey, we just finished a nice event outside. Why don't you use that?" And when you go outside and you look at the reception hall, you can see that you have the nice fire torches, and we basically had everything we wanted and then some at the location. And the reception hall was connected to an outdoor golf course. It was a golf course basically, and it was just magnificent. We were so happy to acquire that location, but again, it was time. We got there in the evening, and we had to make sure that we wrapped up all the scenes, and that happened to be our last location. So we had to make sure that everything was secure, because we couldn't go back. We knew we couldn't go back. We had 5-6 hours. We were limited on location, limited on staff, so we didn't have all our crew members available that evening. And again, we gathered up a few extras at the last minute, made sure that the angles were set properly to make it seem like the event was fuller than it actually was.
Ready? That's not childish. This one's action. Cut. Good. All right.
The reception hall, well, we were blessed with the reception hall. This came about near the end of the shoot. We were on the last day of filming, and we were presented with an opportunity to film at a Montreal-based golf course. It's a very prestigious course. Definitely if you're a golfer, this is the place to play around a golf. It hosts an elaborate area to host galas, evenings, dinners. And we did not even use any of the ballroom. We headed straight for the outdoors. We shot in the evening. It was, they had hosted an event the day before that day, earlier on in the day, and everything had been left in place. So the props were in place, the tents were in place, the fireplace, the everything that you see captured in the scenes of the film were already there. They were available. We just had to show up with our equipment, our cast, our crew, and our gear, and determine what worked best, what look worked best. And Vince and I brainstormed a little bit. We probably sat down for a good 10 to 15 minutes, and we did not use any storyboards at all in that location. We already had a vision in our mind of what we wanted to have represented on the screen, and we quickly talked it through. About 10 minutes later, we had our game plan. We knew where we were going. This had provided an opportunity for the cast and crew to be ready and prepared. And when Vince called out action, we were ready to go, and it just flowed, and it worked extremely well.
Audio right with Ash. Ash, make sure you're clear and precise when you're speaking with Jade on her left-hand side. Yeah. Okay? We don't have to do the whole thing. We don't need the audio. I don't want to take a chance, dude. One time, that's it.
I love you. Let's start from here.
Start when he gets up to the transition, and you can get this. No. Se lève pour aller à l'eau.
Just tell her you're going to go to the tuna now.
Hey, sound rolling.
When they're good. Camera rolling.
Scene 15, shot 1D, take 2.
So we're kind of laughing. We're already laughing.
It's very hard to know what type of problems you're going to be faced with going into a project such as in any film that you're about to produce. It's very, very, very hard to anticipate all the problems. However, we knew that with a budget of $5,000, that there was definitely going to be a lot of challenges. Money, it always comes down to money. Locations was another one. Basically every aspect of making a film was a challenge due to the budget, due to the fact that everyone sees a film production and has deep pockets. They think that we have deep pockets, but in reality we didn't. So we had to be very, very economic going into the film. Luckily that between Mark and I, we had enough equipment, so we got to save a lot of money on equipment rentals and such. But it definitely wasn't easy going into it. Having directed and produced the film, a director usually gets together with, a director usually has a production designer, a location scout, and all his team behind him. And what was difficult with this project is that we didn't have all the locations planned ahead of time. We didn't secure all the locations ahead of time. We weren't able to because of time and money. We didn't know. We had some actors that were students. We had crew members that were students. So we were basically going off on a summer schedule. So a lot of people were also going on vacation. So we had schedules going on with time and money. So it was very difficult to have a shots list or even a storyboard in place going into the project. And usually you would have that so that it's much quicker during production. You get on set, you know exactly what you want. In this case, we did not have that at all. We didn't even know where we were shooting. We just knew about when we were about to shoot and how we were going to go about it. So it was definitely a challenge in that regard.
What we would do differently if we had to do this film over again? Well, I think we can all agree the first thing that we would do is allow ourselves more time. We had a pretty aggressive time frame and budget to work with. And if anything could be done to do this film again, to improve on this film and to make it better, I think we would have allowed ourselves a bit more time and a bit more perhaps spacing in between our locations and our shoots to prepare ourselves and the cast and the crew even more. We don't regret anything that we did. We're extremely pleased with the results, given the time frames we had to work with, the budgets we had to work with, and the talent that we had to work with. We're extremely pleased at how it all worked out. But if there's something to improve and learn from this, was to give ourselves more time. We just felt at times that we were extremely rushed and we're catching our breaths. So luckily for us, we're behind the cameras and nobody sees all this.
Things I would do differently would be spending more time with the actors. I think because when you're faced with a small budget means small crew. Small crew means you have to do a lot of stuff yourself. And everybody's doing 2 or 3 different things at the same time. We have production assistant who's also making sure continuity is okay. You have an assistant director that's, everybody's doing more than one job function. I think because I was more involved in the producing aspect with Mark, we both had multiple job functions. I would probably want to spend more time with the actors and focusing on their performance and the logistic aspects than too much of the behind the camera, the equipment, the getting everybody ready, the scheduling and all that stuff. And I definitely know it comes with the work. However, small crew, small budget equals not enough time with specifics in the production, and dealing with the actors is probably something I probably would have preferred doing more so on the next production. So having more assistants, in that regard, in the filmmaking side, but having more time with the actors.
Shut her up. Go, go, go. Go,
Baby! Baby! Hey! Hey! No!
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
No! 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 No!
Yeah. You like that?
Go, baby, go! No! No!
Baby?
No!
Huh?
No! No!
What?
No! No!
J'ai comme des petits bancs de frappe. Unless if we get food coloring. I don't know how the chocolate milk's
No,
gonna
I
be.
want to test the food coloring.
I want to test it.
Of course, you want to test it.
No,
Rolling camera.
Yep.
Scene 11, shot 4, take 2.
And action.
I can only imagine my reaction coming home one night. Find my wife's lifeless body in the bathtub. Truth be told, though, I don't blame her for it.
Okay, let's do it. I'll record it. You can watch it, okay? Ready? And go.
They just slammed him down.
Those poor flowers.
dude, can we redo that?
Come and check this out.
But less like.
For it,
Totally.
right?
Not surprised per se.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I lean against this thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Despair.
Yeah. Despair. Exactly.
Okay.
Should you take
And most importantly, can you see my face?
I can see.
No, we see your ass. It's fine.
Okay, perfect.
Can everybody just click on my IMDb profile at least once a day, please?
Yeah, okay. I just need to get my rankings above the rim. And I'm happy. I can leave this project.
Open the door.
No,
Tim, what are you doing?
And action. Cut. And action. Cut. Action.
Scene 1, shot 4, take 1.
And action.
Yeah, just get back to me on Monday morning. All right.
Sure. Yeah, come in. Cut.